Harts webinar, which we are running today on how coaching can potentially help your business. And we'll move on to that fairly shortly. But first of all, as usual, we have to start off with our disclaimer, which is basically says the following presentation is produced for general guidance only, and professional advice should always be sought before any transaction is undertaken. So individual circumstances can vary, and therefore no responsibility can be accepted by Harts Limited or any of their affiliates from any action taken or any decision made to refrain from action by attendees of this presentation. Okay. We have our usual online resources which are available to everybody, so you can follow us on LinkedIn. Please do so. That will be fantastic if you can. We're also on YouTube, and this session is being recorded and will appear on YouTube later on today. And we're also on Spotify, where we have some podcasts with business owners who've seen it, got the t-shirt, done it, and then sold out for large sums of money. So if you wondered how they've done it, then it's worthwhile just popping over onto Spotify, search for Harts Limited or Harts Accountants, and you'll be able to see what's going on there. The next events that we have. So the next events we've got, the next one is on June the 10th. We're doing a webinar on salary sacrifice, pensions and cars, and how does it work? Because we're starting to get a lot of queries on this, bearing in mind the increases in national insurance contributions and so on. So it's well worth having a look at how pensions and cars can be used in salary sacrifice situations. We've got one or two people coming in to help us on that. Our next business club is on the 18th of June at the Hollin Hall Hotel and in Bollington. So we've got some great speakers there. We've actually got the chief exec, I believe, of Manchester Airport coming to speak to us. And that's generated quite a lot of interest. So well worth booking on if you can for that. That's on the 18th of June. If you go to the Harts website and just go to the events page, you'll be able to book on from there. I thought it would be very useful and worthwhile just to quickly run through the sorts of services that we here at Harts we offer, because a lot of people come up to us and say, "Oh, I didn't know you did that," and that's not great for us. So what we'd like to show you is just these are just some of the stuff that we do, and you can see there's a fairly comprehensive list of services that we offer there. And one of those is strategic planning as well. And you might think, well, it's a bit odd for an accountancy firm to have maybe a business coach coming on and give a webinar like we're going to have in a minute. But it's more from a holistic view that we take the strategic planning. We'll look at the overall business and where you are, how you do it, what you're trying to achieve, and so on. Whereas a business coach can tend to be more granular. And no doubt Martyn will be able to enlighten us on this, and he'll go into details that certainly as an accountant we don't have some experience of, which may be how to increase your sales. I know we've been talking prior to this session about how Martyn can increase your team's sales, and getting it down to very basics of that. Or you might have a look at one or two processes and systems. Is there a better way of doing things? And we can bring in the expertise to be able to help you with that strategic planning. And it's all about where you want to be in 5 years' time, how you're going to get there, and what are you trying to achieve. So that's really what it's all about for strategic planning. But those are some of the services that we offer at the moment. A quick update, we have Making Tax Digital coming in April next year. So we are less than 12 months away. Now then, are you a sole trader or are you a landlord with turnover, not profit, in excess of £50,000? That's £50,000 as a sole trader or £50,000 rental income. If you are affected by this and you need to start getting ready. I know we're getting ready here at Harts on segmenting our client base, and we'll be contacting those people who it actually affects. Also, we've had expensive car supplement came in April 25. So for electric cars, so effectively now that if you want to pay your road vehicle license, you're going to be paying a significant chunk. If your car was worth over £40,000, then you're going to be paying an extra £600 odd. So just be aware of that. And also bear in mind the rule has now changed with regard to double cab pickups. These used to be treated as a van. If you already have one, you've got until April 29 when it will continue to be treated as a van, or until the current lease or you dispose of your current double cab pickup. So just bear that in mind, because it makes a massive difference. The VAT treatment hasn't changed, but it basically now applies to all vans where the allowances are available in relation to it being able to carry a payload of a ton, and they have to be set up for carrying goods and so on. If you buy a double cab pickup and then convert it, so you buy maybe a van and convert it with seats in the back, it is no longer a van, so it doesn't count, and you will lose all those benefits. So just bear that in mind. If you want more information on that, please feel free to get in touch. Right, that's enough from me. I'd like to introduce you to Martyn Alderson, who is an action coach, and we've had plenty of chats together about how an action coach can help your business, and there's certain parts, as I mentioned, when we do our own planning and what Martyn does as well. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Martyn now. If you want to share your screen, that would be great, and I know we're going to make this an interactive session. So please feel free to unmute yourself and shout out, get involved, the more the merrier. So enough from me, over to you, Martyn.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Great to see you today, and everybody, welcome to this webinar. I'll just briefly go through what I do with coaching, and then we'll dive straight in and take you into how you can work with a business coach and what you can achieve, what you can sort of expect to achieve with a business coach. So I'm Martyn Alderson. I've been with Action Coach for 8 years now, and Action Coach itself is the world's largest business organization for coaching. It's in 80 different countries worldwide, and in the UK we have over 250 coaches across the country. So we have a lot of depth of knowledge, experience, and we're able to help. Over 10,000 businesses are being coached at any one time worldwide with Action Coach. So of course I'm a business owner as well. It is a franchise, and I own my own business within that franchise. So today we've already mentioned it's interactive. So can I be your coach for this webinar? So I'd like you to be interactive. Use the chat box. I can't see the chat box, but Stephen can. He'll be able to advise me what's going on there. So yeah, I'd like to be your coach for the webinar. Do get involved in this. Don't just sit there and listen. Do take notes. It's for your benefit, but I want you to come away with something from this webinar. So what will you get from this webinar? What is it you're actually here for? To learn about coaching, but I want you to take something away from this webinar. So how can coaching help your business? I think I just missed a slide there. Yeah, how can coaching actually help your business? And then the first question is then, what do you want from the business? How does other business coaching differ from other professions? And that's quite important. And then, will it help you get what you want from the business? How will it do that? And then this is the greatest question I've got for you today. What is the greatest point of focus for you in your business in the next 12 months? So what is your next 12 months? What's the point of focus over the next 12 months? And I'll be able to help you answer that question at the end. But everybody in business needs to be thinking about where they're going with the business, and they need to have goals and they need to have objectives. Otherwise, they're just floating around hoping that the wind and the currents will take them in the direction that they want to go. I also want to know is, what is your most advantageous asset and your biggest challenge? So we'll be answering those two questions as we go along. And it's going to be quite interesting to see what they are. So just a point of reference now. Why do we help businesses? Why do we coach? Well, this is the reason why. most businesses in the UK, or more than 50%, will have gone out of business in 3 years. And there's no reason why we as coaches can't reduce that percentage down each year. Yeah. So we want to keep the percentage of failures down, to increase the percentage of businesses succeeding. But you can see there at the 10-year mark, only 30% of businesses are still trading. So there's a lot of failure. There's a lot of challenge in business. And that's most likely the reason why many people don't set out and run their own business. So what are the reasons why that happens? If we look at the reasons, not the reasons why, but what people thought about it. Most business owners don't think about failure, so it's not going to be them. And then they don't realize how difficult it's going to be, how delivering the business and getting the business, and they get burnt out. Or most importantly, and what we'll focus on, is getting good people. Because if you can't get good people in the business, you can't grow the business. But finding those good people and keeping them in the business and growing them and developing them has always been a challenge for many small businesses. So these are the actual reasons why businesses fail. Cash flow, 65%. Lack of demand, poor management and planning is also there, and poor cash management. So the success of business usually is to do with managing and getting the right amount of cash behind your business. That's what most business owners have found have been the reasons for failure. So what's your roadmap to wealth? What are you expecting to get out of this business? So those of you business owners, just put into the chat box now, what do you want to get out of this business?
You could all just type into the chat box, that would be great.
Financial security, excellent.
Anybody else want to just type into the chat box? It's in the top of your screen. We're not getting much response from our delegates today.
Okay, so let's carry on then. So we're looking at this, the entrepreneurial ladder, we call this. And everybody starts out in school as a student. So you're at the bottom of the ladder here. So I call it -1, because you're getting knowledge so that you can work. You're getting skills so that you can go into the market and learn to work. You're actually paying to learn. But then you become an employee. This is your apprenticeship. Now, a lot of people say, well, hang on, I might not even do an apprenticeship. I went to university and all the rest of it. But it's actually your apprenticeship for you to become a business owner. So you learn the skills and the knowledge of how a business works and how people trade in the sales and how they manage the businesses and run it. You're now earning money and you're swapping time for money. Then you become self-employed. So now you've taken the decision to become the first rung on the ladder. You've taken your own role in your hands, and you are now gaining knowledge from that work, and you're earning money from a wage and dividend, but you're still trading money for time. And here, most self-employed people have the challenge of get the work, do the work, get the work, do the work. And it's this constant challenge. So very frequently they realize the best thing to do is to get some people into a system in doing it. And that's when they become a manager. So you become a manager of people, and your role then is to manage productivity and create the competence of the people. So you're managing the people in the process, and you're still getting money from a wage and dividend, but still you're trading time for money. So that's the red line there. Now, has any of you passed these early rungs? Because what we're talking about now is our definition of what is a business. And a real business is a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. And that's the key consideration here. If you're not working in your business purely to look at how you can create a business that works without you, you're going to carry on being the hub in a wheel with all the spokes leading to you. And if that's the case, when you come to sell your business, you'll find it's difficult to sell for a very good return, simply because you're so focused in the business that without you, you haven't got a business. So let's look now if you become a business owner. So at the moment, those of you on the call who are business owners, maybe you're business owner managers. But here, if you become a true business owner, the business works without you. And that's what the aim of the coaching will be, is to get you into that position where the business works without you. And you're on the third step of the ladder. And now you receive money from the business in the form of dividends. Then you take that money and you become an investor. And you take the profits from the business and you invest it usually in the three asset classes: shares, business and property. But obviously there's other things you can invest in. And then your money makes more money without you having to do the work. And that's where most business owners would like to be, in a situation where they've got that financial freedom. They own their business, it makes money, and they don't actually have to do the work to get that money. And then you become an entrepreneur. You use others' ideas and money to make new businesses. So that's an entrepreneur. It's not necessarily someone who's always just going out starting new businesses and new ventures. A true entrepreneur uses other people's money and other ideas to make their businesses. So what rung are you aiming for? Who would like to be on level 3? Who would like to be on level 4? And that's for you to answer. Do you have a solid plan as to the route you'll take? Now, Stephen's already mentioned business planning, and that's one of the first things we would work with anybody, as to what is your plan? Where is it you're going? Not in your business, but where are you going in your personal life? What is it you want in your life, and how can the business then be made to enable you to achieve those things? And without those goals, again, you'll have a business, but all it will do is move downstream with the currents and the wind. So have you got the necessary personal development plans in place? So it might be great to have the actual plan, but what have you got to do to become the owner that can create that business? Gaining coaching, it's all about you. It's all about what you need to be and how you can be better as a business owner, rather than simply just hoping that the business will work and get better without you changing yourself. So what's the difference then between a coach, a trainer, and a mentor? A business mentor is just there to give advice. It's someone who's been there before. The business coach, and I think everybody's heard this phrase, if you give somebody a fish, you'll feed them for a day. But if you teach them how to fish, you'll feed them for life. And that's what the business coach does. We impart business knowledge and skills and training for the business owners and their teams, so that they can then keep those knowledge and skills, employ them in the business, and make the business grow. At the same time, whenever they stop that business or move into another business, they've still got that skills and knowledge as to what to do. And then the trainer comes along and trains and then walks away. Whether you use that skill and knowledge or not is not that problem of the trainer. They've done their training. It's up to the business now to take that training and implement it. And that's where the coaching comes in. Because if you can see on the right there, the forgetting curve, there's some very old 19th century research. And it says there, in minutes, you've already forgotten a lot of what you've been trained on. In hours, you're down to 30 or 40%. In days, you probably remember at the end of the day, 10, 15, 20%, and in months you've lost it. And that's the benefit of the coaching, because the coaching integrates the training and then the ongoing support and coaching to make sure that things are implemented correctly, and that they embed the results of the training into the business. So what is it? How can it help you in business then, the coaching? And we'll go into now quickly the time management, the team, and the money. 3 most common problems is time. The owners work too many hours. You're not with your friends and family. You're missing out on key important moments in the life of your children. you're stacked up and working hard in this business. And that's how many people who run a business believe they've got to run the business. The team, they find it difficult to recruit the right people and then to get them to perform in the manner as if the business owner was, as if they were delivering the service as well as the business owner. And then money. The business doesn't generate the sales profit and the cash properly to keep them going. And they see there's more potential in their business, but they're unable to actually achieve that potential. So what support are you having now? Now, many of you have probably got accountants, solicitors, marketing agencies, and training organizations and all of this. But how many have actually got a coach? How many of you considered having a coach? And what would the benefits be? How does the coaching help you? Well, we're a guide to help you find your way. We are in the helicopter above the woods, and the business owner is in the woods and can't see the wood for the trees. And very often somebody who's external can ask the right questions to make you think in the right manner that enables you to get onto the pathway to walk your way through out of the woods. We also hold you accountable. Not many other professionals actually will hold you accountable, because the first person in business who's the easiest person to kid is yourself. And you are the first person who let yourself off whenever you commit to do something and then you don't get round to doing it. But we can't just expect you to do things without the knowledge. So we help you with the knowledge, we help you with the processes, some of the stuff that you'll have never seen before, and it's all to simplify and make your business easier to run and to streamline the processes so you can accelerate the growth of your business. And we'll also be there to help you as a friend. Okay, so we're there as a professional, and we'll come on to how you select your coach and how it can help your business and be a source of ideas, methods, and strategies. So what do you need to look for when you pick the perfect business coach? So you've got to know what your business goals are and what you need. You've got to look at their relevant experience and expertise and check their coaching style and approach. These are all key things. Review their track record and their testimonials. Look at their website, obviously, but ask them for testimonials, ask them for relevant testimonials, and assess their communication skills. We also need to be making sure there's a good personal fit, because there's three ultimate things when you work with a coach. Will you get more money out of the investment you put into the coaching than you would ordinarily without the coaching? Will the coaching do more than break even? So if you invest £5,000, will you make more than £5,000 profit? If not, then you shouldn't be working with that coach. And then evaluate their accountability and follow through, because we're here about making you be effective. Sometimes we have to be quite tough with you, but in the end, it's for your benefit. And finally, consider the location accessibility. So let's look at the business cycle now, which starts with the business owner. I'm going to ask you now, just think to yourself, what the key skills do you bring to your business? What are they? And then if you were to write them down, what would the first 5 be? I'll take 30 seconds or so for you to write down, what are your key skills? What do you bring to the business?
Okay, guys, now's your chance to put the information into the chat box. If you can stick something in there, that would be great.
Great. Technical knowledge. Fantastic.
Anybody else want to stick something in the chat box?
Okay, let's move on then. So what key skills do you bring? Now we look at the business cycle. The business owner is there to create a team. That's where you're most successful. Okay, so if you haven't written in your top 5 skills something to do with man management, people management, leadership, or management in general, then that is something that you need to focus on. Because if you aren't focused on developing a team, you'll find it challenging to grow your business, because you might be brilliant at sales and you'll go and get a load of sales out, but you won't have the team backing you up to deliver on the promises that you give to your clients and your prospects.
So Amelia, there you put in client relationships. Hang on.
So from the team, what's the responsibility of the team? The team are there to look after the customers. That's their role, not yours. You are not there to look after the customers. Now, of course, when you're starting the business, you will have that relationship with the customers. But the quicker you can move away from the day-to-day dealings with the customers, the better. And then the customer's role is there to look after the business. They do that by paying on time. They do that by taking more services when you expand the range of services and products that you supply, and also by recommending and referring your business to potential other customers. And the business is there to look after the business owner. And it does that through paying dividends, maybe a pension, and obviously paying a salary. But ultimately, it should be that the business owner simply gets dividends from it. So now let's look at where should you spend your time. This comes back to your most important asset is your time. Where should you be spending your time? And we call this area the growth zone, where you're focusing on developing your team so that they can deliver the service, they can deliver the overall product to the client. So if you can spend as much time in there, the more the better. And you have to think, well, how much time do I actually spend every week on developing my team? How many one-to-ones do I have with them? How much time do I think about developing them and what they need for skills and learning? And then the delivery zone. This is where you're integrating your time between the team and the customers to smooth things over. It might be a bit of firefighting. It might be customer servicing. Necessary area to be in, but the less time you can spend in there, the better. And a lot of business owners believe that owning a business is all about being in the delivery zone, coordinating the profits, coordinating the team with the clients and delivering the service on the promise that you've given. And here's the service zone. That's where you're spending time doing your accounts, looking at the administration of the business. Again, it's time you have to be in, but you shouldn't be spending as little time in there as possible. And this is the development zone. This is where you work on the business. This is where you're not working in the business, because below in the bottom half is below, and in above is the development zone. So here we have the point of impact. The point of impact here, the more time you're above the point of impact in the growth zone and the development zone, the better your business will be at growing. The quicker the growth will be, and the faster the team will develop and become capable of running the business without you. So what's your point of focus over the next 12 months? If you can just scan this QR code, you'll be able to take a very quick 3-minute assessment of that.
Anyone want to do that, that's fine. I'm presumably that goes straight through to you, Martyn.
It will do, yes. You'll get a simple report explaining where your focus will be and where your what your great advantages are and where you need to focus in the next 12 months. So that will be an excellent tool for you to use for the next 12 months. Is anybody using that now?
I couldn't tell you, but no doubt there might well be 1 or 2 people who are doing that.
Okay. Just give them 2 or 3 minutes to answer that then.
In the meantime, do you want to give us a few details of the sort of people you've worked with?
Yeah. So who do we work with? We're working with the small and medium enterprises. So we work with startups who've just been going a year or 2, all the way through to businesses that are developed ready for sale. The typical size of a business, in my case, it's somewhere around $1 million plus to 10 million turnover. It's got an established senior leadership team, a number of employees, perhaps 10 or more, and obviously the larger ones will have 20 or 30. We don't work with any specific segment, but we do offer the same service across all the different businesses. So what we do is sector agnostic. It works with any sector, it works with any business, because the core to doing any business is getting the sales and marketing, developing the team, and delivering the service. Those are the core things that the business is around, and that's how we help business owners. And we do this through 4 different levels, as it were. The entry level, we help business owners in a group setting, and we work with them in group coaching. The period is usually 12 to 24 weeks. It's usually up to 12 people in any group, and you will be dedicated to an hour a week working with the coach in your team, and then you'll be expected to work for another 3 to 4 hours implementing that knowledge into your business. Now, the next session will be a review of the first session and a commitment from the individuals to see, yes, they have implemented that knowledge into their business. And then we review another topic in the business, and they present their learnings, and then a commitment from everybody as to how they're going to implement that learning into their business. And so we repeat each time. But some people prefer a smaller group, and we work in small teams of 3 to 5 business owners, and we have fortnightly sessions for an hour and a half, and each one can present, and you coach each other within that scenario. Finally, we do the advanced coaching. That's one-to-one coaching, where we take the business owner on a bespoke journey, working through what they want to achieve and get out of the business. And when we work with them each day, each week. Now, Stephen has mentioned the strategic planning of 5 years. We will break down your first 12 to 18 months in monthly slots and have various topics in those slots as to what you want to achieve towards the goals and the targets you've set for that year. And then we will work with you each week or each fortnight on how are you moving forward on all those different components that are in your plan to help you get to where you want to go. And then we also break down each month in the next 3 months into weekly segments. So then you've got your weekly achievements. This is what you want to do. This is how you're going to do it. And we're all moving you forward faster in the direction of travel. Finally, the ultimate one is where working with the business owners is great. However, they often find it's a challenge to implement their knowledge and learnings into the team. So we work with the business owner and their teams in order for them to be able to gain the knowledge and implement the knowledge themselves alongside the owner of the business. So just breaking down one of the programs we offer are masterclasses. We offer masterclasses in business masterclass, sales masterclass, leadership masterclass, and a management masterclass. And these are structured to enable you to start at the basics with the business masterclass. And that's a 12-week program that I've got coming up, starting with a taster session on the 2nd of June, 4 o'clock. I'll give you the logins for that. So join me on a taster session to learn more about how business coaching can help you and how this business program can be implemented into your business. With the system then, you learn weekly. You watch a video for half an hour from Brad Sugars, our chairman, and then we get together for an hour. We work on how you're going to implement the knowledge you've got from that video into your business. And then within a fortnight, we'll get together again. Before that, you'll have watched another video. You'll have implemented the knowledge from the first video, and then you can report back how have you got on. And then what have you learned from the second video? And then how are you going to implement that into your business? And what are you going to commit to doing that? So you can have an opportunity to work with me. In between the sessions, you have an opportunity to catch up with me in case you're finding it difficult on anything or you're not too certain about things. But the most important thing is that we measure and improve. We actually measure your performance and we can actually see how you're improving. On the Business Masterclass, we guarantee you're going to grow your business by 10% and you're going to get back 5 hours every week of your own time. So if you want to know more about the 12-week business masterclasses, just scan here. It'll take you to a page where you can see a video from me explaining a little bit more about what the content is. And then you can either sign in for the taster session, or if you want to learn more or you can't make the taster session, you can book in for a 15-minute chat with me and I'll be able to take you through things in more detail. So finally, for those who, let's go back. For those who'd love to just get to know how I work, you don't want to do a business masterclass, or you can't make that one, but you'd love to know how we work together. We offer a 2-week complimentary coaching. This is where you can initially just have a coffee with me. It's just to get to know each other. If you can like me and we feel we can work together, then the next step is for me simply to come and visit your business. Again, there's no great objective, just to meet the team, get to know the business, understand how it works. And if you still think it's worth us taking it forward, then I'll ask you to complete a 4-page questionnaire. And then I'll subsequently have a meeting with you on Zoom to discuss your questionnaire, where we can get into the depths of, well, what do you want out of this business, and where are the things that may be holding you back, and what are the great opportunities you see in your business. And if after that you think it's worth getting together, then yes, we'll get together and have a 90-minute diagnostic session where we go through and look at some of the challenges you've got and the strategies, and see how business coaching can help you get your business to where you want it to be. And again, I'll focus on those 3 things. Can we work together? Because we've got to have fun. Can you make more money than you've invested in the program? And we want to be both certain that you're going to make a lot more money than you're investing in the program, because this is an investment in you as well as your business. And finally, can working with me get you where you want to be quicker than it would without? And if the answer to those 3 is yes, then we can look at any of the programs that are on offer, and you can select the one that's best fit for you. So that's it then. Is there any questions?
Yeah, if there are any questions, feel free to just put them in the chat box or unmute yourself. I know certainly when we've talked about personal goals earlier on in this session, it's something that we spend a lot of time with our clients on, because it's all about what you want and where you want to be and what you're trying to achieve. Because the business is you. You've created this thing and you've got to get to what you want out of it. So we spend a lot of time on looking at personal goals and business goals, because that's the basis of how we can plan going forward. But thank you very much indeed, Martyn, for that. That's great. I don't think we've got any more questions in the chat box. So just as a reminder, we have obviously our next events on the June 10th. We have our webinar on salary sacrifice as a reminder for that, and on the business club on the 18th of June. I believe, Martyn, you've been there as well for that business club. It's a great event, isn't it? We have about 50-60 people there with networking. Oh, you got booking on the next. You booked in on this one, are you?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Good, brilliant. So if you want to have a chat with Martyn, then you can as well. So we look forward to seeing you then. But in the meantime, thank you very much indeed. And hopefully we'll see you on our next event. Have a great day.